So let's see here. All right, guys, welcome to 2018, our first team call. And I'm super excited about the lineup for tonight, and I'm super excited about the lineup for the whole entire year. Anybody that went to Super Saturday knows all of this amazing stuff that's coming down the pipe. If you didn't, make sure you listen to that live feed Kristen did. She did a great recap of everything. Those calls are going to happen every single Sunday. It's going to be a weekly wrap-up, so kind of like the National Wake-Up Call. And there's going to be somebody on there talking that really has an expertise in the topic they're talking about. So we have a great lineup for January. If you have something that you think you want to offer, let me know, and we can definitely get you on the schedule. But those are going to be every single Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you tune into them. And then one call a month we're going to do like this. We're going to do kind of a leadership panel, so you guys can ask exactly what questions you want to know the answer to, and we're going to put some leaders up there or people that really stand out with that topic, and we'll get their answers to how they handle the situations, which I think will be really cool because it'll be exactly what you guys want to know. Yes, we are recording. So tonight we are going to kick it off with inviting, because that's what we hear the most when people ask what they want to learn about. Everybody says, how do I invite? What do I say? Who do I talk to? Where do I find people? Blah, 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 blah. So tonight we have two Success Club legends and a Success Club All-Star, and three people that are literally at the top of the leaderboard every single week, always leading in volume, always leading in Success Club, and rocking teams. So they know how to invite to the coaching opportunity. They know how to invite to challenge groups, and they just are kicking butt and taking names. So first we'll have Hadley. She's a Diamond coach. She's been a coach for almost 2 years, or has it exactly been 2 years?
Oh my gosh, I think it's 2 years tomorrow.
Oh, happy anniversary, Coach anniversary.
I just realized that, yeah.
And Hadley, as we know, just hit Success Club Legend. Melissa also is it what, almost 3 years?
2.5.
And she's 30 months strong with Success Club, and Susie is Success Club All-Star, and I don't even know how you've been Success Club like every month forever. And Susie's always like a Success Club 100. So we're just going to let these three take it away. I've taken your questions, I've kind of combined them into some things, and I'm going to try and let all three of them answer every single question depending on time. So if you have other questions, comment in the chat box, and we can kind of add those on as possible. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, guys. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on a game show. Okay, so we'll just change up the order each question. So we'll start with Hadley, because you're at the top of my screen. Number one, when you post a call to action and someone comments and or likes your post, what do you say to that person? And tell us exactly what your comment back to them would be.
Okay, so when I post a call to action and somebody says, yes, me, I'm interested, right? I always respond to their comment and say, great, so excited, I'm going to send you a message. So typically the way I start my message to them is, so excited that you're interested in my group. I'll tell you a little bit about it, how it works, and we can kind of go from there. But first, I would love to hear a little bit about what you're looking to do, you know, or what your goals are. Are you trying to lose weight? Or let me go back. I'm trying to I have like a script that I have it sort of memorized, and I just kind of type it out. But let me know what you're looking to do. I'd love to hear a little bit about your struggles and successes, so I can make sure that we find something that's a great fit for you. Something to that effect, right? I don't talk about anything beyond that. I just keep it really short. So excited that you're interested. Tell me what your struggles are, so I kind of know, you know, where to go. And then sometimes they write back a really short, like, I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. Or sometimes you get a novel that's like explaining their body image issues they've had since they were in middle school, either of which is great, right? It's really helpful to have that background. But then if they're like, they lay all that out and they're like, I really need to do something, I have a little script that I send that's like, well, okay, here, let me tell you how my group works. And I basically just say, you know, I help everybody pick a fitness program that's going to be a perfect fit for them. There's something for everyone based on your level of fitness, how your time constraints, what you like, dislike. You know, we'll find something that's a good fit for you. and then I put everyone in a group that provides the framework for support, accountability, and motivation. And yeah, I'll share the scripts. I'll be happy to do that. And I say the group provides the framework for support, accountability, and motivation, and kind of keeps us all going. And I provide tons of nutrition resources along the way too. So that's it. And then we usually just go back and forth for a little bit. So I try to just give like little spurts of information at a time. It's like not until way down the road where I'm like, okay, you're ready to go. Here's a link to the challenge pack. That's not like anywhere close to the first step.
Awesome. So when you comment back on their comment, that's on your timeline, correct?
Yeah, if they comment on my call to action post and say, I'm interested, I just comment back with, that's awesome, so excited, I'll send you a message. Or a lot of times I find that people don't necessarily like putting themselves out there by like commenting on your post. They'll like message me privately on the side instead of commenting, you know?
Susie, what about you? When someone likes or comments on your call to action, what do you do? What do you say to them?
I pretty much do the same thing Hadley does. Mine is a little bit different. When someone, I have a lot of people that like it. I don't have a lot of people that comment saying like, I'd love to know more, but the people that do comment, I'll comment back and be like, hey, Sarah, I'm so excited. I'm going to message you or whatever. I'm going to send you a message. And then from there, I send them a message. And I typically send something like this. And I'll send this to the person that comments. I'll be like, hey, Sarah, I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for showing love on my abs pic last night. I'm so excited you're ready to make 2018 your year. Like Hadley said, what are your main fitness goals? Or like, you know, I'll keep it short and sweet. But I always make the beginning of the message about them. And sometimes depending on like who it is, I might not say, what are your main fitness goals? I might say, are you on a fitness journey of your own? If it's someone I've never, ever talked to, I'll say, are you on a fitness journey of your own? If it's someone that likes the post, I'll say the same thing. I'll be like, hey, Sarah, thanks so much for loving on my post last night. You know, I'll say it specifically. I won't say like on my post. I'll say like specifically in regards to like what the post was about. And then I'll say the same thing like, are you interested in learning more about my accountability group is usually how I start it. If they liked it, I'll say, are you interested in learning more about my accountability group? And from there, when they're like, yeah, sure, tell me more, I'll lead in with like, okay, well, this is, you know, it's a group. We're all focusing on our personal goals. We're here to motivate and inspire. We're focusing on nutrition. We're focusing on, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Focusing on at-home fitness, and then I'll say, like, what are your main fitness goals? And then from there, we'll go from there.
Cool. So far we've heard that basically they're putting it back on them and asking them questions. They're the ones giving out information. Melissa, what about you?
Very similar. Again, we kind of all do the same stuff, but I mean, the one thing I do want to point out, Susie mentioned it too. Anybody who likes any post of mine, it doesn't even have to be fitness related. I will reach out to them. I will talk to them. I will start a conversation. Because those are the people that are watching you generally. And those might be the people that they're not as assertive and they're shy and they're just kind of like, hey, I'm here, you know. That's how I take it. And I've had a lot of luck and success with that. But generally, yeah, if anybody comments on my stuff, I always write back that I'm sending them a message, and then I take it offline. I'll just say, hey, I'm so excited that you're interested in this program or joining us. Can you please share your health and fitness goals with me? I always do that, unless, again, it's somebody I really know. And then I'll see what they say, and then just go back and forth. I don't talk about anything money related until the end, because I find that is a deterrent, and it kind of makes people just kind of like step away, because people are concerned about the financial part.
So Darissa just asked, and I guess that kind of leads into it right there, is if you write to them and their first question is, how much does it cost? How do you respond?
That's a good one, because we have a lot of those. So generally, I will start, first of all, I'll basically tell them, I'll say, so like what, I'll ask them what their goals are, and then they ask me how much it costs, and then I'll basically say,
Well, it kind of depends. First, can you tell me what your goals are? Because I think we need to find the perfect program for you at this point, and then kind of go from there. Because I'm still trying to get the goals, and I'm still trying to not talk about money at that point. Because again, I just find that it works out better that way. So yeah, truly try to figure out what their goals are and what kind of program they need to do, and
Absolutely.
that's where I go. So
well, and that's important too because we offer so much more than one thing. So there's no set price. Susie or Hadley, do you have anything to add to how you respond to what's the price?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off that really quickly because we do get it a lot. One of the things that I like to say is something like when we were doing the $160 challenge packs, I would say something like, well, how do you feel about getting all access to every single program and all the nutrition guides and thousands of recipes for just $20 for 365 days? That's usually how I lead into the conversation of cost. And they'll be like, oh my God, how can I do that? And then I'll like talk about it, getting it with a month's supply of Shakeology. And then, you know, I kind of break it down from there. Obviously with 80-Day Obsession, it's a little bit different because now you get the bands and the sliders. But what I've been doing is when people keep edging on the cost, I'll be like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a cart for you. I'm going to put everything in it so you can see it visually. And I like break down the cost and explain to them like, this is how much Shakeology costs. This is how much Beachbody on Demand costs. This is how much the sliders and the bands and the containers cost. And then I'll like send them an email. And I find that once they see if they see the share cart and they're like, whoa, this is too much money, then we'll kind of take a step back and be like, okay, well, these are your main goals. Let's see if we can do this for 1 month and really focus and go from there. And then, I mean, 9 times out of 10, they say yes. But that's just how I do it. I don't know, Hadley, if you do.
Yeah. No, I would say I do basically the same thing. And just like Melissa said, I try to push back on if they're like, well, just know how much does it cost? I'm like, well, that depends. Like, I need to understand what we're doing before I can really talk about cost. But when we get to the point where 9 times out of 10, right, the, something like the All Access Challenge Pack is going to make the most, if it's clear that is what makes the most sense, then I will lay it out too. I'm not just going to say, oh, it's $160. I'm explaining to them what they're getting for $160 and saying, well, so it's basically a one-time cost and you get access to On Demand and all of the programs for an entire year. You get a month of Shakeology to try. You get the nutrition resources and materials. But I also position it like, and with that, you also get me as your coach. You get the challenge group. And you get access to all of my nutrition resources. So I have a shared Google Drive, and this is something that's super easy for any of you to do, where I have that it's a shared Google Drive that I give as like a perk to all of my challengers. And then they basically have it forever. And I have all of my clean eating recipes and the meal plans I've made and all of that in there. And so I position that like it's another benefit of their challenge pack. So I'm listing out all this stuff and I'm like, and it's $160. So compared to like a gym or whatever, like this is an incredible deal.
Right. Yes. Good. So waiting as long as possible to get to the money and then really showing the value in that. Okay, Melissa, number 2, where do you find the majority of people you invite to coaching and to challenge groups? And do the majority of them come from free groups or cold call or cold invites? Do you do cold invites? That kind of, just let's talk about this.
challengers or coaches or both?
Both.
All right. So challengers, mostly from invites. Honestly, or mostly from just people just saying, hey, I'm ready, basically, which I get, not every day, but I get them here and there. And just like I really haven't had tons of success, honestly, with my free groups. I'm not going to stop doing them, but, we're supposed to do them every month, and it gets you, if anything, you develop relationships with people, and that's really important. And, I get all that, but it's not to say that they're going to say, hey, I'm going to get a challenge pack the next day when it's over, because that doesn't always happen. They might just hang out for like 6 months or even 12 months and just say, hey, I'm ready now, kind of thing. Coaches, most of my coaches I get from my challenge groups. They just, they're rocking the challenge group, they're posting, they're doing everything that we do anyway, and they're really into it. And then I tell them about it.
All right, Susie, where do you find your people?
For my challengers, most of those people I get from all of my posts. So all of my posts, they're either liking me. I'm sending all my invites through that. And like Melissa said, if you've liked any of my photos, I'm talking to you and having a conversation with you, even if it's not a fitness related photo. And then somehow from there, I turn it into an invite. And then I do not do cold invites for challenge groups, but I do cold, and I'm also inviting on Instagram as well. So anybody that's liking those photos on Instagram or commenting, I'm doing that as well. And then for my coaches, like for Wednesday coming up is a coaching call. So I'm going back and I'm inviting every challenger that I've ever invited before. And just like Melanie has said before, she invites everybody until they ask her to stop saying no. So for coaching, I'm constantly inviting the same people, but I'm also constantly inviting new people because it's so important to constantly invite, obviously, to coaching opportunity, and recruiting is such a big deal. I have a dream team list, and I was explaining to Kate on Saturday what that is. A dream team list is a list of someone that I want on my team. No ifs, ands, or buts. If she works a 60-hour job and has 3 kids and has no spare time in her life, I'm still going to write her down because I think she's going to be an incredible coach. And when I start to get ready to do my power hour or my pockets, I'll pull that list out and be like, okay, I need to invite 10 to 15 people to the coaching opportunity. Let's look at this list and see when the last time I invited them was. So I use my dream team list a lot for coaching because I'm always constantly adding to it, and I'm constantly using it as a reference.
Now, are you in other groups on Facebook? Are you finding people through that at all? I know you were big in a Jeep group for a while.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of hobby groups. So I'm building relationships in a lot of those hobby groups. And then from there we're becoming, I guess, building that relationship. And then I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm not in the best hobby groups because I'm in a lot of hobby groups with personal trainers. So I need to find more hobby groups.
Okay, cool. What about you, Hadley? Where do you find everybody to talk to?
So for me, I think it comes down to constantly expanding my network. Like, I did that 30 Friends Thursday thing that I talked about on it. You just have to constantly be adding new people so you have new people to be inviting, right? But it's about then building relationships with those people. And so I feel like I don't feel like I have one clear formula for how to do that. I'm trying anything and everything that'll work, right? So I'm in the hobby groups, I'm in a lot of running groups, and I'll friend people through conversations there, and then I'll add new friends and try to start conversations with them. Like Melissa said, I don't see an immediate payoff from free groups, but I've had some really successful ones in that, like, I'm forming relationships with brand new people who have come in from my page, or people that I'm Facebook friends with who I've never talked to before, and I'm forming relationships, and then they're not going to turn around and buy a challenge pack tomorrow, but they will down the road because now I have their permission, right, to talk to them and invite them. I know they're interested. So there's not an immediate payoff, but there's definitely payoff down the road. And then the other thing is, a lot of my challengers come from follow-ups, the people who are like, yes, I want to do it. And then they're like, oh no, that's too expensive, or oh no, I'm not going to do it this month, right? You got to keep following up with them. And so it's like the compound effect, because if this is your second month as a coach, you're not going to have a lot of those people. You got to keep inviting anybody and everybody, because then in a year, you're going to have a list of 100 people to follow up with. And every month, people from that follow-up list are going to start joining you, if that makes sense. So
yeah, absolutely.
You just have to be talking to a ton of people.
Yep. Okay, so here's a big one, and this is, everybody's looking for kind of the magic script, is how do you get from the hey girl message to the invitation without it being salesy or awkward or weird or stalkerish? How do you just go from casually having a conversation to inviting them to either your challenge group or to coaching? And do you ever just start with coaching, or do you always do challenge group first? Hadley?
For me, it depends on the person. And I know this might not be the easiest answer, but I go off of my gut a lot. If it's a person who I am kind of interested in because I think they would be a really good coach based on certain characteristics, then yeah, I'll lead with coaching, right? If I know they're not like, oh, I really need to lose weight, but I think they'd be a good coach, I'll just invite them to coaching. If I'm in sort of like a hey girl exchange with someone, I don't really worry about it being graceful. Like I'll usually let the conversation lapse. Like if we've kind of like finished our conversation, I'll wait a couple days and then do like hey, I was just thinking about you because I'm gearing up for my next challenge group and I thought it would be really fun to have you. I know you seem like you're already really active, but if you'd be, because you never want to be like implying, hey, it looks like you might have a few pounds to lose, right? I'm trying to be like sensitive about how I position that, but I just thought of you after our conversation and I was thinking it would be so fun to have you in there if you'd be interested in something like that. And I just kind of jump right in.
Susie, how do you get from hey girl to an invitation?
So usually I'm pretty much the same as Hadley. I don't know, whenever I feel like the conversation, whenever I feel like, oh, this is a really good time to go ahead and throw an invitation. And it might not always be like we might not always be talking about fitness or like one of my challengers from last month, we were talking randomly about Christmas and her baby and just the new year, and the conversation went dead. And I was like, hey, Candace, I know a couple months back, like again with the follow-up, you had asked me about my accountability group and you weren't really ready. I was wondering if now would be a better time. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. And, we just got the ball rolling. But I don't know. I just feel like sometimes it's like awkward because you don't know like when to put it in there. But I feel like when I do a hey girl, if they're like, hey girl, whatever, I send the message and then they're like, I'm doing really well. How are you? I saw you did you went to that awesome event this weekend. I'll be perfect chance for me to tell you about Super Saturday and for me to invite you. And actually that happened on Saturday. That happened to me Saturday. And so I was able to like straight out invite her right away because she asked me like, or just mentioned that she had seen that I'd done this cool thing. And I was like, absolutely. It's really, really awesome that you asked. Like I was with my team. Have you ever thought maybe coaching would be for you? Because sometimes, I don't know, like Adley said, you don't want to like flat out invite them to the challenge group. I don't know. It really just depends. I feel like that's kind of a hard, when you're in the moment, it just is easier to answer, I guess. Sorry, I don't know if that's the answer you needed or wanted, but I just feel like when you go with your gut, when you're in the conversation, it's easier to know like, oh, this is a time for me to go ahead and invite, or maybe I'll wait for a few more minutes to see where the conversation goes and then invite.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that it depends on the person, it depends on the conversation, but I think what you guys have both kind of said is that you don't have a hesitation to just straight up ask.
Yeah.
And, if you're talking to them, you can easily just kind of be like, hey, I was totally thinking about you and I have a new challenge group coming up and thought, I would ask you and see if you want to be in it or something along those lines.
Exactly. And I have found that the more I invite, the more comfortable I have gotten with just spitting out the invitation, because in the beginning it was really hard. And if you guys haven't read the book, Eat Your Frog, right? Eat That Frog.
Eat That Frog.
Eat That Frog. You should really eat it, or you should really read it because it really helps you get over that fear, because inviting it is hard and it's really uncomfortable. And until you start to like just really do it a lot and repeat it, it gets easier and it gets, I don't know, you're less nervous about it. And you're just like, oh, I'm actually not going to invite this person. I'll just invite them tomorrow. And then you never do. So it's just like, just rip the Band-Aid off and do it.
What about you, Melissa?
So, I mean, I find that I don't ever just ask somebody to be a coach, like, unless it kind of depends. I mean, the people that want to be a coach, like, and work the business are usually reaching out to me, honestly, because that's what they want to do. I mean, honestly, I just find that getting them in the challenge group, and just seeing what it's all about. I'm just laughing because a few people here are yawning. I'm just seeing their faces. I'm sorry. Sorry, I won't bore you guys. But the main thing is that inviting people. I do a lot of cold inviting, meaning just like inviting people. I have like over 3,000 friends, and I don't do it all the time, but I do it. And I find that people will ignore me sometimes, and I reach out to them, and I kind of will follow up with them like monthly until they tell me to leave them alone, basically, or block me. And I don't get bothered with that. I'm just like, whatever. Like in the beginning, yeah, I would have worried about it, honestly, but now I'm like, I really don't give a shit. I'm sorry, I just don't. It's like, whatever. Move on. People that tell me no, it's money, whatever. I never forget them. I always follow up with them. It might be like 3 months later. It might be 6 months later, but always remember them. If they say they don't have money, there's a lot of people that tell me they're going through a divorce. They can't afford it. They're moving out of their house. They're leaving their husband. And I'm like, I get that. Like, and I definitely reach out to them again, and then they join me, and then they become a coach, and you never know. So, but no never means no is what I want to say about that. Like, no means not now.
Absolutely. And so Robin said, how are you guys not on your phone having a conversation with somebody forever and ever and ever? And I think, like Susie said, that comes with practice, right? It comes with more invites you do, the more comfortable you're going to be just kind of like interjecting in the conversation and kind of getting that invitation out there. So just keep inviting, and you'll get more comfortable as time goes on. So all three of you have mentioned follow-up. How many times do you follow up with someone, and how long do you wait before following up with them, and how many follow-ups does it take before someone says yes? Melissa, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was kind of saying that already. If I message somebody, right, and they don't write me back, I don't keep writing them like right away. I'll wait a month and then write them again and ask them again. And if they don't write me back, I'll do it again. I'll do it like 5 times, and then I'll wait like 3 months, and then I'll do it again. And then maybe they'll like say something to me. And sometimes it's actually, yeah, I'm ready to join you. Like I had somebody actually like 2 weeks ago reach out to me. I counted the messages, 8 invites. She never responded to me at all. All of a sudden says, I'm ready. Do you have any room in your accountability group? Like, what if I had never sent that? So, don't take somebody ignoring you that they don't like you, and don't get upset about it. It's just they're not ready, and that's just how they do it, But yeah, don't ever forget people. Like, definitely keep them on your radar. Write it down, track it, because they will be ready eventually.
Okay. What about you, Susie? How often do you follow up, and how many times?
So I don't know that I have a specific number, but like I said, I just pretty much keep inviting, like especially to people on my dream team list and stuff. I pretty much keep inviting them until they ask me to stop, which I haven't had anyone yet. But knock on wood. I don't know, with that follow-up, I mean, tracking is key. And I tell my coaches this all the time. If you're not tracking, you're only hurting your business. And I say that because when you're sitting here and it's like 10 o'clock at night, you're like, crap, I didn't send my invites in. And it's like, well, I'm like fumbling to invite. It's like, well, I've got this list of people that I've been tracking since I started coaching, of people that I can follow up with. So I just go back and if like that girl Candace, like she wasn't ready at the time when she told me no months ago. And when I followed back up with her, the timing was right. And, sometimes they say no and sometimes they ignore you. Like that girl Melissa just said, and they always come back. They usually come back, and no just means not right now, or ignoring means just roll it out, let it roll off your shoulder, and just wait till they come back around, and, just keep following up. Robin just said, is there something less expensive than Teamzy? I actually was using Teamzy. I have stopped just because I went back to paper and pen because it was helping me focus more. I know there's a lot of people that use Google Docs. Robin, I used Google Docs for a really long time before I started doing Teamzy, and just whatever works for you. I know, Brooke, I think you still use Teamzy. I don't know what Hadley and Melissa you use. But just find something that works for you and stick with it. If you're a paper pen person, do that. You know what I mean? Just as long as you're tracking, I highly encourage you to just figure out what's the best method for you and just stick to it.
And speaking of tracking, what do you track? So what do you keep notes on?
I'm tracking. So like I'm tracking the name. I'm tracking the date we talked. I'm tracking like a little snippet about what we talked about. So if like today we talked about like 21-day fix, wants to lose 20 pounds, I'll write it down so that I don't have to spend 10 minutes going back and rereading our conversation the next time she messages me, or the next time I message her. And then sometimes I'll write like, no, too expensive, or not right now, or hate Shakeology, allergic, or whatever. I'll write down the key things that are really important to me. And then I always have a follow-up column on my tracker so that I can see like, when was the last time we followed up? And I always write the dates. I know that some people just use their messenger, but for me, it's just easier to put it on like a chart so that I can visually see like, oh, we talked in March and she said she's not interested. I'll follow up in a couple months.
Hadley, how about you?
So I am still using Teamsy, but I'm kind of, I'm kind of also a pen and paper girl. So I have an approach that just works for me, right? I log all my conversations and my invites in Teamsy. I have, you can use the tags in there, right? So I have tags for challengers, I have tags for coaches, and I have like a UK tag. So if it's somebody that I've invited to coaching, I'll put in a coaching tag or a challenger, whatever. So if I'm like, okay, who should I invite? I can pull up everybody that I've tagged as challenger and go through and see who I need to follow up with. But I also have in my big old planner that I love to share with everybody because I'm obsessed with these planners. I think it's the same one Brooke had. But on the month page, right, when I roll over to a new month, I have the first page is a notes page, and I have 3 columns. And one column is like a challenger column, one is a coach column, and then one is kind of like in between, like, okay, I want to get this person signed up for a discount because they're not interested in coaching, but that would still make sense. And I just kind of jot down all the names I've talked to that month. And it helps me keep them. They're still in Teamsy, but it's like on my immediate radar. And I'm like, oh, this person said they were going to buy their challenge pack, but they haven't yet. So let me follow up. So it's like the more immediate people that I need to be following up with. And it just kind of works for me. I don't log a whole, like, I'll copy and paste my conversation, my invite into Teamsy. But I'm not like putting the whole conversation in there. And I tend to just kind of like revisit what's in the, what's in Messenger. I will follow up with people. Was that part of the question? How many times you follow up? I feel like there are people fairly consistently that I have followed up with 3 or 4 times over the last 2 years. And it takes that 3rd or 4th time before they're finally decide they're ready and they buy a challenge pack. Probably the same thing with coaching. It's probably like around 3 times before somebody, they might say they're interested or they say they're not interested, but you're going back over and over. And again, the same thing. Like if it's somebody I've invited to coaching a ton of times, I'll even sort of make it a joke. And we heard this from somebody who spoke recently, and I can't remember who it was. Like, they'll message me about something else, and I'll be like, yeah, well, I wish you were, if you would decide to come on board with me, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stop unless they tell me to. And I also have people who I've sent like 5-6 messages to, and they just never respond. I know they're seeing them, but they're not responding. And sometimes I keep trying. Again, I don't have like a formula. It's just kind of gut. At some point, I'm like, okay, I'm done with you. And sometimes I'll unfriend them if it's somebody I don't know. And I'm like, well, you're not responding to me, then.
Yeah, so I don't think there's really a formula, right? But like Julie actually chimed in with the corporate sales. The average it takes for someone to say yes, and Eric reminds me of this all the time, is 7 times. They have to be presented with something. They have to see something 7 times before they're going to say yes, and that's the average. So some people are going to be 3 and 4. Some people are going to be 20. So there's really no exact formula to how many times somebody needs to see something. So like Hadley and Susie and Melissa have all said, keep going until they literally say stop, And I love how you said the thing about the joke, Hadley, because I've actually been doing that a lot with the new year. I'm like, hey, it's the new year, so you ready to jump in yet? Or like something just crazy. And they're like, yeah. And so, some people have said, sure, I'll listen in. So I think kind of making it as casual as possible sometimes works. So
yeah.
Next, how do you handle rejections or people who don't respond? And I know that we've all kind of mentioned that. But do you do anything, Hadley? We'll start with you and go back down. If people aren't responding, I know Bonnie Engel had that script that she sends to people. What do you do?
I've used that script a few times that like, geez, I hope I didn't do something to offend you. You know, I hope, I can't remember exactly like what she said. I know I got that from you. But like if somebody was like all into it and then all of a sudden they just stopped responding, I'll use that because legitimately like, wow, did I do something that offended you? I hope I didn't. If so, like, please let me know so I make sure that I don't make that mistake again. And sometimes people will respond back and be like, oh my gosh, no, no, no. I just, you know, life got crazy or whatever. But the rejection thing really doesn't bother me. I mean, I just kind of move on. No, thank you. I mean, I think the like worst thing I've ever heard is like, no, it's just not for me. I mean, nobody has like blasted me for inviting them or whatever. And if they did, no, I don't really care about that either. I just.
So have you always not cared, or has it taken time? So a new coach, for instance, that gets objections, and you know, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say it does take time. And it's scary at first, like you're holding your breath, you send the invite. But what I will say is all the things that you're afraid of are not going to happen. Like the very worst that's going to happen is that they're just going to say no thank you, or they're going to say they're just not going to respond. So I think we build it up in our head. Like, I don't know, what do we think? Do we think they're going to like come through the Facebook atmosphere and like stab us in the eye? Because like, right? Like that's not going to happen. They're just going to say no thanks. Or most people are like, wow, I'm really like honored that you thought of me, but no, that's not for me, you know?
Right.
Nothing's going to happen. It's just, but I mean, I'm even saying that to myself because I still get worried sometimes, but then I have to stop and be like, what do I think they're going to do?
Right. No, that's very true when you actually break it down. What about you, Susie? How do you handle the objections or people ignoring you? What do you do?
So I have had a lot of people object and say no. And in the beginning, I think it was hard because I was struggling to hit Success Club. And I was like, oh my God, I really need this person to say yes. But then they'd say no. And I would like kind of beat myself up. But at the end of the day, if you're like holding on to that last no and you're just not inviting enough. And so I started to, build, I guess, a tough shield. And, I don't care anymore because I am talking to so many people and so many people are saying no and saying now's not the right time. It doesn't really matter. But I do want to mention something about negativity because I have been blocked and I have gotten some really nasty messages from people. And at the end of the day, and somebody on social media, my sister today, she put something on social media about this. And at the end of the day, if somebody has something negative to say to you, or if somebody chooses to like backlash you, like last week I posted a picture of my abs and someone was like, that before picture is so fake. Like you're totally sucking out. Like what a joke, like totally backlashed me. And I was like, okay, thanks. Sorry you don't believe my before picture, but that's just, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, people like that have those negative thoughts, you don't want them in your tribe anyways. And to go off of that, like those people that are so negative, that are talking about you behind your back and having so many bad things to say about you, they obviously have some sort of insecurity or are jealous of you at some point, and they are just going to come back around later and want to be a part of your tribe. But like the thing is, I know that some of us get so caught up in the negative and so caught up on like when people posting me like, I don't want to be a part of this pyramid scheme, stop inviting me, like, because people have done that on their statuses, and a lot of us have gotten like let down or like upset about it. But at the end of the day, you don't like, it's not worth it to, I guess, dwell on those people, because at the end of the day, we have all these badass coaches who are part of our team, and those are the people that we want to spend our time with.
Absolutely. What about you, Melissa?
So when I was growing up, I was very, very insecure. Like it was really, really bad. I was quiet. I didn't really talk to a lot of people. Didn't have a lot of friends. That was just me. And as I've gotten older, I just really don't give a shit anymore. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I'm like, you know what? You can hate me, you can block me, you can do whatever you want. And at the end of the day, I am going to keep doing this. So that's really all I can say about that. I mean,
and at the end of the day, I mean, look at these three people. Melissa has inspired and helped 3 to 20 people every single month for the past 30 months. So clearly, if there's someone that has a problem with it, there's a ton of other people that don't. And that kind of makes it all worth it, right?
Yeah, I mean, just think about all the people you're helping. If
Right.
those other people don't want to be helped, then that's their problem, you know? Move on.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so tell us, say you are in a grocery store line, or you're on an airplane, or your waitress just seems like she'd be the perfect coach. What's your 30-second elevator pitch, what we do as a coach?
And this is like me just talking about it without being prompted.
Yep, you just run into someone and they say, oh, it looks like you're buying a bunch of healthy food. Are you on a diet? What's your elevator pitch?
That gives me something.
There's my first example. I'll think of another one.
Like, I'm actually a Beachbody coach. And they'd be like, well, what is that? Well, actually, we don't like, you know, because some people have said to me, like, what does that mean? Like, you work out on the beach or something? I'm like, well, sometimes we do. But no.
On a good day.
Yeah, right. On our trips, which you should be a coach, but that's another thing. No, I just tell them about, you know, this opportunity fell into my lap like 2.5 years ago. It's the best thing ever. I get to help people with getting healthy, getting fit, with their nutrition. I have this wonderful, awesome community of friends that's developed. What else was I going to say? I get to go on trips around the world. You should join me. This is awesome. Do you like that kind of, you know, do you like health and fitness, or I don't know, something like that?
Cool. All right, Susie, we are on an airplane on the way to Summit, and the flight attendant looks like she'd be a good coach.
Oh, God.
Like, what are you guys doing? What do you say?
Oh my God. I'll be like, here's my friend Brooke, please talk to her. I mean, didn't you invite somebody last year when we were on the plane? So I would be like, I don't know, I guess if she's like, where are you guys going? I'll be like, oh my God, we're going to Punta Cana. We all earned these trips. Like, everybody on the plane is a coach. Everybody's listening to me talk. Like, this is so awkward. No. But I would just, you know, that's so hard because there's so many people listening on a plane.
That's 4 coaches.
I know. And you want her to be on your team and not on the other coach's team.
Okay, so then you're in the airport and you're just walking by.
Fine. So I'm walking by and she's like, oh my God, where are you going? I'm like, I'm actually going to Punta Cana. Me and my team are headed to this trip. We actually earned it for helping other people get in the best shape. And she'll be like, oh my God, it's so cool. Tell me more. And I'll be like, yeah, you should totally think about it. You could come with us. Next year we're going to Mexico. Have you ever been with a company where you get to earn awesome trips like this? And then she'll be like, well, no. And I'll be like, okay, well, can we be friends? What's your name on Facebook or Instagram? I don't know. Or like text me. I don't know. I'm very awkward when it comes to stuff like this in person, Brooke, because I've never like physically.
Me too. That's why I made Kristen do it.
I don't know that I've ever like physically invited someone to the coaching opportunity. I know in line at Old Navy one time, I did physically invite someone to the challenge group. And that kind of goes off what Sunny said. She like turned around and like was like, oh my God, you are getting those shorts. I wish I could wear shorts. And I was like, well, I work out at home, so it doesn't really matter. I don't wear shorts. I would never wear shorts in the gym. And she was like, what do you mean you work out at home? Like, tell me more. And I just kind of, you know, was like, well, I'm actually a Beachbody coach. We do all of our workouts at home. It's pretty awesome. I can wear whatever I want. And she was like, that's so cool. And we exchanged phone numbers.
Awesome. All right, Hadley, you walk into one of your kids' classroom parties and a mom in there looks like she'd be a good coach. What do you do?
So it's so funny because I don't know that I've ever, like, I typically in person, if I talk to somebody, I lead with like the fitness opportunity and not
okay, if you think she'd be a good challenger.
The coaching opportunity. So I usually position it like I tend to not lead with Beachbody, right? I say I'm a health and fitness coach, and I use all online fitness programs to help people reach their health and fitness goals and use accountability groups to keep people on track. And so that's the kind of, like, I'll lead with that. Like, oh, are you on a health and fitness journey, or what do you do to exercise? And, you know, yeah, I do it all at home. And but then what I try to do is like connect with somebody because I want to get them on my social media so they're seeing the full picture.
Right.
So, but I want to like throw this in because I had written this down in my notes and there's no great place for it. But I think the key to all of this, like the foundation behind all of this inviting, is that if you're like not being really consistent and you're not telling your story on Facebook, none of the invites are going to matter, right? Because Facebook is your storefront, or Instagram, or whatever your platform is. As soon as you're inviting people, they're going to your timeline to check you out, right? So you need it to look like professional and legitimate, and like, yeah, you're exercising and you're eating healthy, and you want them to see all of that, and you want to be consistent. Because if you invite somebody to a challenge group and they go out to your page and you haven't posted anything for a week, they're not gonna have anything to go off of. So that's just a little add-on.
Very true, because people are going to come and they're going to check you out. So that's a great point. Thank you for adding that. All right. So last words of advice for a brand new coach, a coach that's ready to start over. And like Kristen said, we're in a new year. We're forgetting the past. We're moving forward. 2018, it's time to put our fears behind us and just rock it. Inviting is a crucial part of the business. You have to do it to be successful. You have to do it a lot, and you have to really get out of your comfort zone, because that's where everything cool and fun and awesome is going to happen. So, Hadley, you go first, and just last piece of advice about inviting for anybody, for coaches, new, old, anybody.
I would say, like Susie brought up, eat that frog, right? You just have to get up and do it. Doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but if you're going to sit down and work your business and you've got a list of 5 things to do, and one of them is like plan some challenge group posts or do the, no, you're going to get that stuff done, right? Do the invites first, because if you put that off, it's going to just keep getting put off. And like I mentioned, the compound effect, you have to have like so many invites out there all the time that they're constantly coming back. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you can't just like send 5 invites on a Monday and then expect something magic to happen. You have to be sending 5 every day over the course of months. And that's when, you start to see the returns.
And I think all 3 of our panel tonight have said, the more they send, and they're sending lots and lots of invites, the less the objections you even notice. You don't even notice what objections you're getting because you're so busy sending invitations, and you're practicing and getting to the point faster. Susie, what are your last thoughts?
I mean, the same as like Hadley said, just inviting. And I think, along with inviting is the 4 vitals. And I think so many people forget about personal development. And I think that that's something that everybody on here should be doing every single day. And if you didn't listen to the National Wake Up Call today, make sure you find time to do it tomorrow or Wednesday. I think that the vitals, they're there for a reason. They're the foundation of this business. And inviting is on there, but so are the others. And the other 3 are just as important. And this is a new year, like Kristen said, and 2018 is about to be incredible. We're all about to get amazing results with 80 Day Obsession, and just figure out whether maybe inviting is not scary to you. Find another book or podcast to listen to every single day, because there's stuff to do there. There's so much out there. And, at the end of the day, you're your own boss, so you get to make the rules, but the only person holding you back between you and your business is you. So if you're not hitting Success Club or you're not reaching your goals, you just have to work harder on what your daily objectives are and work harder on those daily tasks so that you get it done.
Good. Melissa, what about you?
Just to touch on a few things. So pick a time of day that you're going to do your inviting, get it over with. I do mine first thing in the morning before the kids get up, and do that every single day. Be consistent, big thing. If you're going to post 3 times a day, whether it's you're sick and you're throwing up in the bathroom or you're drinking your shake, post about it. Get on there. Let people see your face. Let them relate to you. We don't have perfect lives. Don't be perfect all the time. What else? Consistent's a big one. Challenge groups, lead from the front. That's a big one we really heard this weekend. If you have people that are in your challenge groups and you're like, oh, well, this one would be maybe a good coach on my team, act the way that you would want them to act in their own challenge group. Be that person, post, whatever you need to. Put recipes on there, drink your shakes, do your workouts. That's really it. Those are the main things. But yeah, if something's not working, change it, because it's not gonna work.
Awesome.
And what
Good
works
job,
for me
ladies.
might not work for somebody else. So
Good job, ladies. That was awesome. That was really kind of fun. Did you guys like that? Show of hands. Yes, you like that kind of format a little bit? Can we take a picture real quick? Smile. Okay, so just my final thoughts are think about why you started, right? Think about why you came into this business. Look around at the people we're surrounded by. Think about how much fun you have when you're with these people, and don't be so selfish and keep that from other people. But it's up to us to invite people to this opportunity. It's so awesome and it's so rewarding, and all the programs work so well. Share that and be confident in what you're doing, and always remember why you're here and what you love about it. And that's all we've got, ladies. Have an awesome week and a awesome January. Let's just rock this. Let's rock it. All right. If you guys have any other questions, just post them and the girls can get back to you. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.